What is up, you guys? Jury here. I've wanted to talk about this for a while now, and it's something I'm genuinely passionate about, especially as a Linux and Windows gamer, of course. Gamers are waking up, the SKG movement is gaining traction, and gaming companies and lobbyists are starting to get nervous. In this video, I'm going to explain what Stop Killing Games movement is, why it matters, and why gaming companies really don't want this initiative to succeed. You have probably heard about SKG, Stop Killing Games, but if you haven't, it's a consumer-driven movement aimed at challenging the legality of publishers deterring access to video games they have already sold to players. The biggest promoter of this initiative is L.E.S Farms, as in Ross, and I highly recommend checking out his YouTube channel. The main point is, when you buy a game today, you're not buying a permanent copy, you're buying a temporary license. You're basically renting a game, and once the publisher decides it's no longer worth it to keep the servers up, it can be taken away without compensation and often without warning. One of the most infamous examples is Ubisoft's The Crew. Despite being a paid game with both single player and multiplayer content, it was entirely shut down, made completely unplayable. No offline mode, nothing. That game's destruction was a huge wake-up call and directly helped kickstart the SKG petition in the EU. And it's not just about The Crew. Any game with always online DRM or required online services is in danger. Entire libraries of games could vanish just because a publisher decides it's no longer commercially viable to support them. Now, you may know the developer Parrot Software. I won't get much into detail of him, but he initially misunderstood the initiative and publicly told people not to sign the petition. Fortunately, after L.E.S Farms responded, the message spread even more. I won't dive into Parrot Software too much here since others have already covered him better, and this isn't meant to be a drama video. The important thing is, we've gone from around 300 signatures to over 1.3 million. Now you're asking, okay, why does this SKG movement or initiative matter, and why do gaming companies hate it? So this is where I'll get into the core topic of this video, because I'm really passionate about this, especially as someone who plays video games. But I'm going to be honest, this topic really frustrates me. Films, music, and historical works are considered art, and they are preserved for future generations. Video games are also art, yet they are treated like disposable commodities. Most modern games are loaded with microtransactions, seasonal mechanics, and monetization models nobody asked for. Yes, there are passionate developers who want to make great games, but they are often constrained by corporate overloads, more focused on quarterly profits than long-term value. And ladies and gentlemen, that brings us to something crucial: physical media and preservation. Whether you like it or not, physical media is dying. Always online DRM and live service models are becoming the norm. Not because it's necessary, but because it gives publishers control. Think about it. They know gamers like us still play old titles, often years or decades later, and that terrifies them. They want total control, and the only way to get it is to make sure you, the consumer, don't own anything. That's why they push cloud gaming, always online systems, and server-dependent games. If they can flip a switch and delete your game, you are at their mercy. That is why I personally avoid modern games on my channel. Why bother showcasing or playing something that can vanish in a year? And this is why SKG matters, because it's pushing back against that. Gaming companies shouldn't have the power to tell you how and when to enjoy a game you paid for, and then rip it away like it's nothing. Imagine buying a bread roll at a bakery. You are halfway through eating it at home, and suddenly the clerk knocks on your door and says, "Oh, sorry, we didn't make enough profit. I'm taking that back." Like, it obviously sounds absurd, and that's exactly what these companies are doing. Now, a lobbyist, Video Games in Europe, wrote a statement regarding SKG. They basically published a statement trying to justify their status quo. Here's what they said, and I'll basically read it out for you.
We appreciate the passion of our community. However, the decision to discontinue online services is multifaceted, never taken lightly, and must be an option for companies when online experience is no longer commercially viable. We understand that it can be disappointing for players, but when it does happen, the industry ensures that players are given fair notice of the prospective changes in compliance with local consumer protection laws. Private servers are not always a viable alternative option for players, as the protections we put in place to secure players' data, remove illegal content, and combat unsafe community content would not exist and would leave rights holders liable. In addition, many titles are designed from the ground up to be online only. In effect, these proposals would curtail developer choice by making these video games prohibitively expensive to create. We welcome the opportunity to discuss our position with policymakers and those who have led the European Citizens Initiative in the coming months.
Okay, so let's break it down because there are so many things wrong with this statement. 1. In quote, discontinuing online services is multifaceted. Sure, but to gamers, it just looks like a business prioritizing short-term profits over long-term preservation. This is not nuance, that's neglect. 2. In quote, fair notice in compliance with local consumer protection laws. Look, complying with the law doesn't mean you're being fair. It just means you're doing the bare minimum while erasing something people paid for. 3. In quote, and this one just, oh my god. Private servers are not viable. Now this is just outright fear-mongering. Gamers aren't asking for source code, they are asking for options to make the game playable. Publishers could provide safe, limited tools or offline modes if they cared. 4. In quote, online-only games are too expensive to redesign. Okay, then maybe stop designing them that way. Again, always online DRM is a choice, not a necessity. Lastly, number 5, in quote. Again, I know I said so many times. We welcome dialogue. Again, we do not need more dialogue. We need real change, because every day more games are vanishing and more consumers are losing access to what they paid for. VGE's full BDF statement contains more legal jargon, but it mostly repeats the same deflections. What they refuse to acknowledge is the core issue. Gamers are tired of not owning the games they buy. That's all I've got for today. Again, this is a topic I've been meaning to talk about for a long time. As a gamer, I care deeply about preservation, and if you love games too, you should care as well. Now, do I think this initiative will succeed? Absolutely. Despite setbacks like Pirate Software initially slowing down the momentum, we have gone from about 300 signatures to over 1.3 million. So if you live in Europe and care about games, please head to the Stop Killing Games website and sign the petition. Only if you are a European citizen. Please, please, for the love of God, if you are not a European citizen, do not sign this petition. We obviously don't want fake signatures because that could ruin the legitimacy of the movement. Yeah, I think that's all I have to say. Thanks so much for sticking around, and thank you for helping me reach 400 subscribers. I highly appreciate it. With that being said, this is your boy Jury. Stop killing video games, and I am signing out.